This video will explain how I use the AgWeatherNet import processes to develop a process for um, standardizing the import of AgWeather variety trials documents. It's a similar import process, and so uh, the more simple description of the process would be to show you how I did it for the bulk AgWeatherNet data that was provided by AgWeatherNet's analyst to us. So what I'm going to do now, if you're looking at the screen, you're looking at a copy of the database for AgWeather. And as we previously described, we've got AgWeather providers which describe a network of stations. The stations have specific locations here with an install date, and we can get data up into the install date. It shows the elevation, the longitude and latitude, both of which can be used to identify an individual station, station's relative or relevant distance to a research plot location or farm location. And here I even put, it's got, a lot of these stations have station cams, so if a field tech wanted to see what the weather was like at that particular station in the morning he was going out to do soil sampling, they could take a look and see what the weather actually looked like at the station. And so the actual daily data here, we're going to be working with that, and all of the daily data is associated with a specific station, which of course accrues data over the course of time, and in this case we're doing daily data. As you can see, it's incrementing by day. Alright, and that's for a particular station. So what I've got here, I've got several documents sent to me by the analyst at AgWeatherNet. Here we're going to be doing lacrosse. I've already inputted these, and so the first step is to for me, what I do is I open this up, and I've already massaged the data in a certain way. I've already changed the column names in this file to represent the column names in the database, so that when I go to map this document to the database columns, it will automatically map to each individual column, so that I don't have to physically choose to map each column for each set of data, which in this case there's multiple. And so the process is we're taking the bulk data, which AgWeatherNet was kind enough to provide to us, and then moving forward we will manually update the data as needed or on a yearly basis, which is what we can do at the greatest interval through their website at agweather.net. So we have lacrosse here, and what I'm going to do is, let's see, lacrosse right here. So we know that that is station identity number 6 for lacrosse, and so we're going to take, oh, you just saw me pick my nose on the camera, awesome. We're going to take and put the number 6 in here, and I'll show you why that's important later. And so we go to AgWeather, we go to tasks, and we're going to import data. And we're going to import from a flat file. So the data source is a flat file, a CSV file. And I already have the location chosen here from my directory, so we're going to change this to CSV file. We'll choose lacrosse. We know that the column names exist in the first data row, and this represents the columns and the data. It looks pretty good actually. Okay, and now moving on, we're going to choose the destination, which is the SQL Server table. We plug in the password, and it wants to create its own table. We don't want that. We already have a table, so we're going to choose AgWeather Daily Data. We're going to edit the mappings to confirm that everything is mapped properly, and it does look as such. So with the source being the flat file, which I've already changed the column names. If I had to do this for each data set, I would have to do something like this. Choose it from all the choices here, and I'd have to continue to do that throughout each time for each data set throughout all of these columns, and that takes time, so I've made it simple. And so we go to the next step, which is to ignore any potential errors that might come from importing. And the reason why is I've already tested this. The system looks at this as coming from a string source, which is a string of characters from a flat file source, and it's plugging it into a very specific decimal format in the table. And so it's afraid that it might not be able to either concatenate or append the data into the table row because it's going from a string character to a decimal. And so what we're doing is we're saying, let's just continue with this. There's no errors because I've already verified that this process works. So in finishing up, it will tell us if we're successful, and it looks as though we were. And we have pumped in approximately 1,848 days worth of data information. So we close this. And the next step is we know that the AgWeather station doesn't know how we identify their station ID in our system. So there's going to be null values where it says ID station. So right now, this query that I just highlighted will show all of the records, about 1,800 something of them, approximately. See, we have it here, 1848, good, that are null. The ID station is null. And so now, because we know that the station is La Crosse and the station ID is 6, here's where we go to populate those nulls to identify the specific station data by day to La Crosse, which in this case is number 6. And we execute this query, and it's going to show 1,848 rows were affected. And so now if we go down here, we go to look for all the nulls, there should be no null values. And if we wanted to be very specific, we would just say, show us all of the station data for station number 6, which in this case is La Crosse, and here it is. And you see that it's been populated. And that's, again, daily data, 1,848 rows. So that is the general idea and the general method for importing data from AgWeatherNet from the bulk data provided. This process will be refined for your specific document needs. But I've created a script to do this for your process. The only thing that I need is for your soil samples, it would be better to have an Excel spreadsheet with that versus the PDF form, which I think would be beyond my skill set. I don't think I would be able to create a script or an import process for PDF form. It would have to be a manual process, which would take an enormous amount of time. So I hope you found this helpful, and I hope these videos are useful for you to understanding what I've been doing, how I've been doing it, why I've been doing it, and I know the AgWeatherNet data is not necessary for what you want, and or at least not essential. It's kind of maybe a benefit, fringe benefit, but I will be pumping in your data soon, and because I've honed this process, well, I talk too much. I'm going to shut up. All right, I'm outie.